Kia ora everyone, it's Jamie here. Today I want to talk about some of the traps being used for predator-free New Zealand, or more specifically around the communities in Wellington. Remember though, all of these communities, we're working really hard in contributing to what will be predator-free 2050. And so by us doing our bit, we're going to really put New Zealand on the map and help all of the wildlife and native species come back to their own. In Wellington, the region's doing awesome. I'm in Karori and we've only just kicked off and we're being inspired by all of the hard work that's being done around the rest of the city and the region. So onto the traps. The one I'll be talking about today is called the Modified Victor Trap. Modified, I use that word because without the plastic kind of stuff, it would have just been the Victor Trap. So the question might be, well, what is with the plastic shroud, the white, the addition to it? Well, the science behind it shows that for some of these species, unless they line up appropriately into the trap, unless they align appropriately to the trap for where the kill bar will come over and get them, they may get away. And some of these pests, these predators, especially Norway rats and some of these stoats, they're muscly little buggers, and so unless they get their heads right in exactly where we want them, the kill bar, when it comes over, it may not get them in behind the head where we need them to. So that's why, and actually just for a whole lot of other pests and things as well, it just guarantees the effectiveness of the whole trap. So I think that's a pretty good idea. All of the traps that we'll be sending out from predator-free Karori, they'll be the Modified Victor traps. There are lots of other traps being used, and that's cool. It's just that for us, we're going to be focusing on this one that we know has been tested. Okay, so if we come in a little bit closer, I'm just going to release the kill bar down a little bit while we talk about how to bait it. So the shroud, this is the bit that goes over the top, and the pest would be walking in that way. I'm just going to clip that up. All you need to do is press the sides and you'll lift it up. And you'll see this little sucker here is where the bait sits. Now, when the bar comes back and is held on, you'll see it just sits like that. Once you get your trap, you'll be able to see it pretty easy. But where you put your bait is simply on the hook there, so that when the pest, the rat, the mouse, whatever, pulls on the bait to try and take it away, he pulls, and that will be what releases the kill bar. And, you know, Bob's your uncle. So the question might be, what on earth do you put as bait? Now there's no shortage of ideas by wonderful trappers all around the place. What we're going to use today is peanut butter. And actually it's really popular among all of these rats and mice around the community. So the other thing though is that they're pretty fussy. The salt levels in peanut butter actually have a big impact on the number of rats and mice that get caught. So the higher the salt content, the less rats that seem to be caught. So higher salt content, that's the cheap supermarket stuff. But some of this fancy stuff, now this is not me doing a paid advertisement, but some of this other fancy stuff has lower salt, and therefore it seems to be attracting the rats in a little bit more. Okay, so I'm just going to get a little spoon here, and we're just going to come in, and I'm just going to smear it over where the bait goes. You can see. What some people do is also put a little hazelnut or an almond in the little gap there too, because then the rat will then pull it out. We've got a couple when it's just like this, but we keep trying. We encourage you to try heaps of different things too. You don't need to put in too much in there though. You'll end up just attracting first year uni students. So there we go. So I think that's good. Probably wouldn't recommend putting the spoon back in the peanut butter unless you've got a dedicated peanut butter jar. So I think that's a trap for young players. Here we go, we're ready to set it. So the shroud is ready to come back over top of the bait. All we need to do now is pull the bar over, and it's good to do this on a firm surface. We then can bring this back to hold the kill bar down. And like I talked about earlier, all we need to do is lift up the flap where the bait is sitting on, and there are two little notches that the bar can sit underneath. One is a fatter one, and one is a skinnier one. You'll see them when you're trying it yourself. This is based upon this is all around how sensitive you want the trap to be. We'd recommend you go to the slightly more sensitive one, so that would be on the right hand side. It's the thinner piece of plastic. That means that even the most cunning of mice and rats who try and be as gentle as they can, they'll still set off the trap. So I'm hooking the bar just underneath that one, and it's ready to go. Now the final part of the puzzle, of course, is to put it into the tunnel. So here is one that's been prepared earlier by our wonderful friends at Predator Free Wellington. You can see that the little mouse, the rat, the stoat will come in this end. But what I've done is I've lifted out the wire at the far end, and all we need to do is take our trap and we slide it in the back. Remember, you want to put it in this way. If you put it in the other way, it means that you'll figure it out. You just want to make it easy for the rat to get in there. Here we go. So it's going to slide in. Some people put two traps in, the rat one and a mouse trap, a smaller one, just in case the mouse crawls over and gets past the rat trap and towards the mouse one. But we've just put one in here for the rat, the larger one, and then closing that down like so. And that, my friends, is one tunnel, one trap, some yummy peanut butter, and it's ready to go into the garden out in your backyard. In my next video, we'll be talking about tikka masala, curried rat, and mouse kebabs. See you next time.